Products aimed towards children will always generate billions. As long as there's a Travis Scott Fortnite burger or PewDiePie tuber simulator you can download on the App Store, children will flock to it and depart with mommy's credit card. And today I'm going to talk about the king of children's products, and that is VTech, the education electronic brand that basically gets anything Apple made in the past 5 years and dumbs it down so much in case the child doesn't accidentally call the police when they're trying to click on the next Mr. Beast video. But VTech was recently hacked. A hack so spectacular that it made the Sony hack look like child's play. Most hacks compared to the VTech hack, that was like recruit difficulty. This, we're jumping straight into veteran. You know the difficulty where they changed like the icon to a skull? That means serious business. So sit back and strap in while we do the VTech hack any percent speed run, 0 deaths. I got suggested this and I bookmarked it. This toy illegally spied on 6.4 million children.
A kid's electronic toy maker, VTech, admitting tonight it's been targeted by hackers.
This latest hack impacts children. 5 million people worldwide have had their data stolen.
Why would this hacker want, hundreds or thousands of photos of children or whatever else that they're collecting?
Well, let's find out today. So to understand this story, we need to take it back a year. So it's Christmas morning and you just bought both of your kids the brand new VTech InnoTab 3 learning tablet, and man, your kids are stoked. So behind the screams of joy, deep down they're gonna be safe on the web, but more importantly, they're gonna learn. Now, maybe you're not super tech savvy being a boomer and all, but at least with VTech, you can send your kids videos, photos, pictures, all.
I know for a fact, like, if I ever have kids, I am not letting them go anywhere near the internet, bro. I'm making sure for a fact that I never let them near the internet unless they're like, I don't know, like 16 or something. There is no way I would let a kid on the internet. If there's any chance that my child ends up like me, bro, believe me, they're getting 0 internet time. 0.
With VTech Kid Connect, you get the comfort of hearing each other's voice.
I love you, Mom.
Anywhere, anytime.
And for you, this tablet is just another device.
I like how he's using a wine mom as the profile picture.
To add to your Wi-Fi network, like your smartwatch, your smart mug. And VTech tells you that all of your data is going to be safe. But connecting everything we own to the internet opens up a new can of worms for us, because this toy isn't designed.
Hey, chat. Okay. I know we've got a lot of 10-year-olds in chat, right? It's 13 to make a YouTube account. Can you stop spamming to play the fucking game? I said I'll do it. I said I'll do it after the React Andy. I know mom's going to call you down for alphabet spaghetti in like 5 minutes. And you want me to play the game now? Just let me get through this, right?
And what VTech failed to tell you was how much illegal data they would collect on your child. And even worse, how unsecure it all was. Now, hacker can kind of be a cringe word, honestly. We often think of black hoodies, green text, that are all mainframes, but that's more of a Hollywood.
Okay, that was a pretty genius. I usually, like, when I see edits in YouTube videos, I never laugh, but that was genius.
Kind of be a cringe word, honestly. We often think of black hoodies, green text, that are all mainframes, but
we are let anonymous, we let no forgive.
That's more of a Hollywood trope. You see, real hackers are interested in making a system do what it was never intended for. Hackers look for exploits. And when a group of hackers found this new VTech tablet, they did what they do best. Online forums sprung up dedicated to just hacking the InnoTab 3. One guy figured out how to run Doom on it, of course he did. Another guy popped it open and was able to get root access in the Linux operating system.
Can you still jailbreak iPhones? Because I remember, like, I bought an iPhone and the first thing I tried to do was jailbreak it, and then I locked the entire phone up and it just basically killed itself. Like, I couldn't use the phone anymore. I had to get a new one. It's not worth it anymore? Why not? You can play Deep Woken if you jailbreak your iPhone. Just the average age of my fan base gets lower every day.
Now, Slipstream was a 21-year-old security researcher working for Malwarebytes, which is pretty impressive.
Was his profile picture an emoji in a trench coat? That's kind of badass.
Working for Malwarebytes, which is pretty impressive, honestly. And he knew a bit more than your average Joe when it came to finding exploits.
I got a trial of Malwarebytes on my old PC. I did a scan on Malwarebytes, and I'm not joking when I say it found about 379 exploits on my PC. Like, I think I had every kind of computer STD imaginable. I had a Trojan, I had malware, I had some EXEs or something. I had so much garbage on my computer, it was actually insane. There was definitely someone spying on my computer, and I feel so sorry for them.
So when he stumbled upon this VTech hacking forum, he became fascinated with the community. So he picked one up at his local store. So after a few weeks of messing around with it, he discovered the tablet talked to a website pretty often, planetvtech.com. Now, there's really nothing out of the ordinary with that, but when he checked the site, he kind of noticed a pretty big problem. Planet VTech was using Adobe Flash for its login form. Let me put this in perspective. Flash has been banished from the internet in 2020 because it is riddled with exploits and vulnerable to SQL injections. Now, for those that don't know, SQL injections are like one of the biggest security threats for a website online. But what is it? Now, let's say you fill out an online form, and instead of typing in your name like a good boy, you're a bad boy this time, and you put a piece of malicious code, a SQL injection. Now, once you hit enter, the site will take that piece of code as a command for the database rather than just a piece of data. And this allows the hacker to steal, modify, or add data to the entire database of that site. So we're talking emails, credit cards, phone numbers, passwords. Now, today there's lots of tools to protect yourself against these attacks, but at its most basic level,
that is like the worst thing I think I've ever seen from a computer company. The fact that you can like get hacked just because someone puts like XD as their username.
To perform a SQL injection, the website must have a vulnerable input page. And in that case, Adobe Flash is honestly probably the worst thing you could possibly have. So seeing how vulnerable the site was to SQL injection, Slipstream looked through his own script.
No! He's using the 4chan lingo in my chat. No! He's using the buzzwords. No!
Scripts that he had to enter their backend. Now,
I will never understand how these billionaire companies will always have the worst and easiest possible backdoors into every single like facet. I will never understand it. It's always like they've got like god tier security and stuff, but then when it comes to like a single exploit, do they not hire like security professionals to try and crack their site or something?
Now, at this point, Slipstream should have just left the network and alerted VTech of the security gap, and then hopefully they would have forgiven him for hacking in, but he didn't do that. Now, let's remember, 21-year-old half-developed brain. So he's in the network and he starts snooping around and he finds several databases, and they're all big. I mean, we're talking gigabytes of data, which seemed pretty important. Now, he didn't have time to actually look inside and see what they were, so we thought steal now and he'll check it later. So he clones everything he can find and then quickly disconnects from planetvtech.com. Now, once the adrenaline wore off, Slipstream had just realized he had committed a federal crime, and a pretty big one at that, stealing the data of over 4,833,670.
This just reminds me of the guy who got the gold disc copy of, what was it, World of Warcraft or something? And then he gave it back. He gave the gold disc back and everyone called him a pussy. But it's like, if he didn't give it back, he would have been sued. His family would have been sued. His children would have been sued for the rest of their life. There was a gold disc of a game. Oh, StarCraft. That's it. Yeah, StarCraft. Guy finds StarCraft source code and returns it to Blizzard. Gets free trip to BlizzCon. So he found the source code, the original cut of the game, right? And he posted it, and then he returned it to Blizzard. And again, everyone called him like such a bitch boy. It's like, why'd you do that? Why didn't you keep it? But it's like, if he didn't return it to Blizzard, you're going against Blizzard. Like, you would have actually been sued into oblivion, dude. There was no way that he was going to get around that. His family would have ended up like looking like the Joker extras or something.
On the dark web, your data goes for $65 a pop, so times that's $314 million. Even if he was to make 100th of that, that's a pretty nice payday. But Slipstream wasn't in it for the money. It was just his curiosity. And when that curiosity led him to take a closer look at the stolen trove of data, a pit grew in his stomach. Because this wasn't your average data breach. It was the data of children. We're talking full names, email addresses, questions, home addresses, who their parents are, what's their address, everything. Essentially, anyone with access to this database could say, here is 7-year-old Tom Beck with his dad, Mark Beck. They live at 123 Oakview Lane. His password is 456. Their security question is, what's your dog's first name? Answer, Rex. markbeck@hotmail.com.
Imagine if the hacker just like sold all this info to China. He would have actually made like billions from all of that data.
But the scariest part of all of this was the thousands of messages and videos and pictures of children who had used the tablet. It was essentially the data for anyone who had ever registered with VTech, which is a $2 billion company. Now, Slipstream just couldn't believe it, that he had just taken...
I have never heard of VTech in my life. Is it like an iPad for kids?
In the identities of children. So he had 3 choices at this point. Number 1, sell the data. Number 2,
he could literally have sold it to China or Russia and made billions. The genius part is companies do this shit like every day. They sell like all of your data, all of your location, your name, your address, everything. But because he's not a company, he's going to go to jail.
About the security gap and maybe they'll fix it. Or number 3, tell the media about VTech's security gap and then they'll have to fix it. Now, weeks later, Lorenzo, a reporter at Motherboard, receives an encrypted message from an unknown number. It was a hacker who wanted to remain anonymous and hand over the database of 4.8 million accounts from a children's tablet company, VTech. Now, this hacker had made it clear that he had never sold or was going to sell this data. He said, quote, "I just want these issues made aware and fixed," he said. But most important of all, the hacker wanted him to break this story. Now, for Lorenzo, the hardest part wasn't writing the article about this. He needed to verify that this even happened, because any story about a data breach could just tank a company's stock and lose them millions of dollars. So yeah, you better make damn sure that you do your due diligence on this. Now, for Lorenzo to verify this, one person came to mind.
I'm amazed this guy wasn't like assassinated after this.
Troy Hunt. Now, he's known as the data breach expert, the creator of HaveIBeenPwned.com. It's where you can check to see if your personal data has been compromised. So this guy knows his. So Lorenzo sends him all of the VTech files, and the minute Troy opens them up, he is astounded by how bad the whole thing is. The identities of 200,000 children who were on average 7 years old. 4.8
Did he use Ryan's toy review as a picture for the kid?
On average,
I do not want to imagine
children who were on average.
How much money? Hang on. Ryan's toy review. 100 million. 100 million? It's more than that. It's more than that. He earned 11 mil between 2016 and 17. Nah, he made more than that. He made way more than that. He earned 22 million from products and videos in 2018. Yeah, that's madness. I like how right next to him is Jeff Bezos and Eminem.
4.8 million customer email addresses with their corresponding unencrypted passwords. Now, the passwords weren't stored in plain text, but what's called hashed with MD5. Now, MD5 is a cryptography algorithm that's been broken for about 20 years, meaning that all of these passwords could be cracked easily within minutes. But then that didn't even matter, because the secret questions and answers for the whole password recovery were stored in plain text, meaning anyone could just reset the password and use that information for other accounts tied to that email. Now, this was bad, but he needed...
This just reminds me of phone companies. If you guys don't remember, I think H3H3 did a video years ago saying he got hacked, because what people would do, like hackers, to spoof you and get into your shit, is they would call up your phone company and pretend to be you, because phone company security is the biggest dog shit ever. Like I tried to hack myself once, right? I called up my phone provider, and you know how they do a security check? It's like, can you confirm your date of birth, your address? I just said to them, I don't know any of that. I just know that I'm in the UK. And then the woman on the phone goes, okay, that's fine. And then she just lets me in. She let me into my own account. It was just insane. If you guys want to protect yourself, Google Authenticator app is really good for that shit. Or a USB key. You kind of need that shit, honestly, for like standard now. Because phone numbers just aren't trusted.
To make sure, how was this data even real? Because there is a thing as fabricated data breaches. Now, Troy's website, Have I Been Pwned, allows users to notify them when their email's in a data breach. Now, this is like a massive repository of every data breach that has ever happened. So he cross-examined the VTech database, the Have I Been Pwned database, and he finds 18 emails that have been involved. So he reaches out, and it's a pretty big stretch, and he emails them asking for some help, if they'd be willing to verify some non-sensitive data, you know, where they live at and if they had a VTech account. And all he could do now was just wait. But thank God, because within 24 hours, 6 people respond back.
Yes, that's my data. No doubt about it.
So it looked like all the signs
She's
pointed to this
PewDiePie's
data
face.
being real. But it even gets worse, because even though there were tens of thousands of children's photos and video files, they were all encrypted, that same database they were in had the decryption keys for all of it, meaning it didn't even matter. VTech had up so bad. So with Lorenzo having the full confidence that this breach, the whole thing happened, now he had the mission of trying to tell VTech about this incident. And I say mission because you think for a $2 billion company, that'd be a little bit easy. Nope, emails referring him to this guy, telling him to call here, telling him to leave a voicemail over here, back and forth, and then finally, after a couple of days, he finally got a hold of someone. And they said, on November 14th, an unauthorized party accessed our VTech customer data on our Learning Lodge App Store customer database, and we were not aware of this unauthorized access until you alerted us. Wow, that's how bad it was. They didn't even know that it even happened. So just days later, November 27th, VTech then sends out this super watered down press release.
Obviously didn't have malware bytes installed for that one. Like, bro, just get McAfee or something. Like, I get it, he's dead, but just get like a McAfee antivirus or something. Jesus, like, so stupid.
Everyone about the hack, but they never mentioned how many accounts were compromised, that nothing was even encrypted, or that even their kids' data was involved. But thank God, because the next...
They might as well have just sent a letter out to the family saying, okay, so your kid's name and address and your name and address has all been leaked online, but it's okay because Google technically does that anyway, but it's legal.
Next day, Motherboard releases their article about the breach and reveals what actually happened. And man,
Wait, Vice did an article that wasn't about Porn or drugs? Holy shit, Jesus.
Reveals what actually happened. And man, people were pissed.
The hackers took names, personal details, pictures children had uploaded, and chat messages between them and their parents. The only good news is the hacker doesn't seem to want to publish it.
They got a picture of every single parasitical fan.
In the chat log, which is really unsettling information.
What's the one thing that parents should know about this hack?
Probably everything they have given VTech has been compromised.
Front page news around the world.
Well, honestly, mate, just to tell you, I think you're completely fact. Everything's been fucking leaked, cunt.
Everyone was running the story. They were just dumbfounded that a children's toy company could make such a stupid mistake when it came to the data of their kids. Now, VTech had to make a tough choice because they were going to shut down all.
I just wouldn't trust my kid on like an iPad or anything with a camera. Like I remember seeing this picture of Mark Zuckerberg and he had a sticker that went over his laptop. Yeah, there it is. So there's this laptop here and you can see that he's put tape over his webcam. This is the CEO of Facebook and he's put tape over his webcam. Yeah, it really just goes to show like the people that run this tech just don't even like trust it themselves. What the fuck is this? Do you ever dream of this man? Every night all over the world, hundreds of people see this face in their dreams. If this man appears in your dreams too, if you have any information that can help us, please identify him. You know the worst thing is? I don't even think that's edited.
So the day after they stated they got hacked, they said the hack was actually way worse than anyone ever said. That those 200,000 accounts of kids, it was actually 6 million children that were hacked.
Why are so many kids on iPads, bro? 6 million! He went for the pentakill. Oh my god.
Wild. So for those 2 months while VTech servers were down and they're getting the much needed security upgrades, they have another surprise in store for all of the parents. They update their website terms of service. God, this is so bad. Is
VTech dead now? Because this looks like Neopets or something. Like the layout of this website is so old. Does it still look like that now? VTech. Wow, this website looks terrible. The layout of this website, it's like one of those websites you'd make at school to learn web design when you were like 13. It looks slightly better than what it was in here, but not by much.
They update their website terms of service. God, this is so bad. You acknowledge and agree that
The VTech hack was in 2015. So in 7 years, they've aged their website by 1 year.
Any information you send or receive during your use of this site may not be secure and may be intercepted or later acquired by unauthorized parties. Dude. In other words, if VTech ever gets hacked again, it's the customers have no ground for complaining because they already said it wasn't secure. Like, how is that? So then at that point, the government started to ask questions because you can't be saying stuff like this about their security. Senators would write public letters asking if they sold the data to anyone or did they collect data on kids that were under 12. Okay, real quick. So while I'm editing,
I don't understand why like US senators always look so crusty. Is there like a single US senator that's under like the age of 80? They always look so crusty. Like why would you get a guy that's in the last years of his life and then take like a 4K picture where you can see every single crevice and canyon and wrinkle on their face?
Okay, real quick. So while I'm editing this video, I found something wild I had to share. So Senator Joe Barton, who wrote this letter to VTech, strangely
that man of crust.
enough, had his own data leaked on the internet a year later. And by data, I mean private photos and text messages.
Oh my god.
God, he's a big boy. Let's just say Joe Barton isn't a senator anymore.
Wait, what was that?
Had to share.
That went straight over my head.
Senator Joe Barton, who wrote this letter to VTech, strangely enough, had his own data leaked on the internet a year later. And by data, I mean private photos and text messages.
Did he cover his penis with the Twitter logo?
God.
I want to see you so bad right now, deep and hard.
God, he's a big boy.
Yeah,
Let's
could be worse.
Say Joe Barton isn't a senator
Could be
anymore.
worse.
Because VTech didn't just violate...
That's probably the most vanilla message I've ever seen. I was just waiting for this guy to say it was like he was messaging a child or something.
Their customers, they violated COPPA, the Children's Online Privacy Protection Rule. And the government said that number one, they failed to encrypt the data of 6 million children. And then number two, they never told the parents that their children's data would even be
How much do they have to pay? I really hope the fine they had to pay was a fat one, but I don't think it will be. I don't think it will be a fat fine. Considering VTech is still around today, it probably wasn't a lot of money.
Insane to think about today. For a company as big as VTech, $2 billion, the FTC would settle with them for $650,000.
Is that it? $650K. What XQC makes in a day? And they really said that that's a lot.
Or to put it a little differently, 10 cents a child. That's what your child's data is worth to the government. But the best part is VTech didn't have to admit or deny any wrongdoing. Just a real slap on the wrist. So what's VTech up to these days? Well, they're killing it. They just came out with their Kitty Buzz 3 phone, baby monitors, webcams for kids. They're doing just fine. Would I buy anything from them? Probably not. Now, Slipstream had laid low after he talked to Lorenzo, and kinda no one really heard from him. And then just 29 days after this whole ordeal, the English police finally tracked down and arrested a 21-year-old man and seized all of his...
I like how this guy making this video, he's using Cressida Dick as one of the police, right? She's a real policewoman. She's the superintendent or the commissioner of the UK police, which is like, she's the head of the police. Like, no one's above her in the police. It's like the highest role you can have. And she got fucking fired. I mean, she had to step down, but she basically got fired. So I just find it funny that he's using her as an example.
His assets. His crime? Hacking in the VTech. Now, the police at the time didn't even state his name.
Don't use her again!
A photo of him. But the
she doesn't work in the police anymore.
Because for that unknown hacker Slipstream, well, today we actually know his name. Zamus Clark. Now, 1 year after the hack, now at 22 years old, the English police stated he was given a formal adult caution. Now, don't worry, I had to look it up. I don't know what it was either. It's like a first-time offense where you admit guilt, but you're not prosecuted, and you're pretty much let off the hook. And honestly, he got pretty lucky, because even if VTech had no valid excuse for being vulnerable to SQL injection, like no one really does today, just a hacker accidentally causing damage to where they had to shut down all of their servers for 2 months and lose out on millions of dollars, they could have pinned that him. See, a good analogy for what he did is he brought a loaded gun into the TSA checkpoint and fired it off into the air. He didn't harm anyone, but he still committed a crime. Now, you would think that getting a slap on the wrist and a chance at life again would be some kind of deterrent from illegally hacking people. But no. So just 2 years later, Slipstream gained access into Microsoft's internal servers where he stole over 43,000 confidential files. We're talking...
It's like, I got caught hacking, but I did it for the greater good to warn children. I will now do a real hack for real, Lamau.
Confidential copies of pre-release Windows, betas of games, the works. And then he uploaded a piece of malware onto the network.
Oh, for fuck's sake,
and then he was arrested a week later.
I wonder why. Like, yoinking the data, I guess you could just have some white hat hacker cope or something, right? But it's like, and then I gave them aid.
Now, Clark was bailed out immediately, but he was given no computer restrictions, and then guess what he did? He went to go hack into the Nintendo internal network and he stole 2.5 terabytes from Nintendo. We're talking leaked games, source codes. It is the biggest leak ever.
Well, honestly, like, hacking Nintendo is probably the least eventful thing ever. The entire list of games will just be Mario Party 39 or some game with rabbids, Rayman Raving Rabbids. Literally, Nintendo be like, we've released the same game 7 times in a row, and somehow people keep buying it.
But the craziest thing is he was never...
What? Guys, what? I hacked Nintendo servers and they're doing Splatoon 4? What?
Incarcerated because he's autistic and they were concerned of that making him a target while he was in prison. So in 2019 at 24 years old, Zamus Clark, Slipstream, would admit to hacking into Nintendo and Microsoft and stealing confidential information. So in the middle of editing this video, I
just kind of realized how useless it'd be to hack video game companies, right? Like Microsoft, I get it, but not Xbox. Even though it's owned by Microsoft. You hack into Xbox, you find out they gave up on Halo and it's got no games. You hack into Sony for the PS5, you realize it's got no games. You hack into Steam, you realize it's got no good games. You hack into Nintendo, and then you realize they've got about 7 games coming out, and they're all the exact same game. Like 6 of them would be Pokemon, and 1 of them would just be Zelda.
Kept coming across these North Korean PowerPoints about surveillance technology, but the craziest thing was Slipstream's name was credited in all of them, along with his Twitter handle. Now, I thought this didn't...
Someone's coping in chat, take that back. Okay, found the PS5 user. PS5 user, address me now. What games does the PS5 have that the PC will not later get? Explain to me right now, young man. Explain. You have Ratchet & Clank, which is a remake of a 2002 game, and you have Demon's Souls, which is a remake of a 2008 game. That's it. That's all you got. Last of Us is coming to PC. Like, I'm not doing a PC Master Race Reddit bit. The PC Bloodborne. Okay. Yes. Fucking hate when people bring up the Bloodborne argument because I can't counter it. It's a PS4 game. Like, we get it, bro. I don't know how to counter this. When they start shilling Bloodborne, I actually don't know how to counter it. I get stun locked. Gran Turismo, it's on PC, probably. And if it isn't, who cares? It's a driving game. Can't even get out the car.
Really makes sense. I mean, Slipstream is from England, but what the hell would he know about North Korea? So I contacted one of the researchers on this PowerPoint, and they led me to an article from 2015.
What do you mean classic Pyro L? Enjoy paying monthly to play... Enjoy paying monthly to play your fucking game at 30 FPS.
Now, a North Korean news agency interviewed Slipstream, and you may be wondering why. Because Slipstream hacked into North Korea in 2015. Now, he didn't just hack in. He went in and he stole the only version that we have ever seen of Red Star OS, which is like their operating system that they have.
I saw someone install Red Star OS, and Red Star OS looks like it looks like the very first iPod ever made. It looks like the interface for that. Looks like it was made in like Windows XP.
Now let me put this in perspective on how absolutely insane this is. People had only seen screenshots of this operating system. No one had ever seen a copy until Slipstream hacked in and stole it and put it out there for everyone.
I like how he puts it on Reddit. The first place he puts it on is Reddit, by the way.
For free to download.
Yeah, we gotta keep this hush-hush because Korea might be pissed off. Let me put it on Reddit.
Absolutely.
It's alright, 10 cent put like half the stocks in. It's fun.
Insane. Now, if you're interested in seeing Red Star OS in action, I do recommend Mudahar's video, link down below. So let me just sum up Slipstream's career real quick. He hacked in the VTech. He then hacked into Microsoft and stole 43,000 confidential files. He then hacked into Nintendo and caused...
He hacked 43,000 files, and every single file was just 343 Studios saying how they gave up on Halo.
43,000 confidential files. He then hacked into Nintendo and caused the biggest data leak in Nintendo's history. And then he hacked into North Korea and stole their operating system, all before the age of 24. So
he's the GTA 6 hacker. Has there been any update on the GTA 6 hacker? Because I thought he was from Dubai or Saudi. Apparently the kid's British. He's like 16 or something, right? Genshin Impact is trash. I don't think Genshin Impact was mentioned at all in this video or in stream chat. I don't know why you're bringing that up.
Data are no longer confined to just what we deliberately share with companies.
FBI caught the hacker. I mean, he got caught in the UK, so he's completely fine. In the UK, you could literally be a mass murderer, but as long as you're under 18, like, the government will protect you. He will never have his identity revealed. We will never know who he is because the UK does not like naming kids. It really is against that.
All of these devices store and transfer
because they worry for the kid's safety, even though that guy's probably just gonna get fucking annihilated by lawsuits by Rockstar and Take-Two forever.
Meant huge quantities of data, location, habits, patterns, fingerprints, walking speed. And the scariest thing about all of this is that biometric data carries a new level of risk. Unlike passwords, you can't just change your fingerprint once you've been compromised. Now, companies state that our data is the most valuable asset for them. But when there's a
I saw someone fake a fingerprint once on an iPhone by using a hot dog. Do you guys want to see that? Plot twist, it was his penis.